I woke up to the sound of a chainsaw tearing into my fence at 6 a.m. But that wasn't even the worst part. By the time I stumbled outside in my boxers, Brenda Thornfield, my HOA president and neighbor, was spray painting bright orange X's across the remaining fence posts while her hired contractor kept cutting. The metallic rattle of the spray, mixed with the screaming chainsaw and splintering cedar, created a symphony of destruction that had half the neighborhood peeking through their curtains. The acrid sting of two-stroke exhaust and fresh paint fumes burned my nostrils as sawdust drifted down like toxic snow. I could taste the bitterness at the back of my throat. Brenda stood there in designer yoga pants and a neon safety vest, supervising the demolition of my 6-foot privacy fence like a deranged construction foreman. "Your fence is 2 inches too tall," she screamed, waving a crumpled HOA violation notice. "It ruins my mountain view and violates community standards." 20 feet of my Memorial Garden fence gone. What would you do if you caught your neighbor destroying your property at dawn? Drop a comment telling me where you're watching from and whether you've ever dealt with a neighbor from hell. My name is Marcus Delua. 6 months ago, I thought moving to Pine Ridge Estates in Colorado would give me a fresh start. I'm a 52-year-old electrical contractor who just lost my wife, Sarah, after a 2-year battle with cancer that drained our savings and broke my heart. The life insurance money bought me this modest ranch house sandwiched between 2 McMansions, and I figured a quiet suburban neighborhood was exactly what I needed to heal. That fence Brenda was destroying, I had built it myself as therapy. Every board I hammered into place helped me work through my grief. The steady thunk of the nail gun, the rough cedar against my calloused hands, the sweet smell of fresh wood stain, it was all part of honoring Sarah's memory. Behind that fence was her memorial garden, where the scent of her favorite roses mingled with lavender on summer evenings. But apparently, my 6-foot privacy fence was blocking Brenda Thornfield's $1 million mountain view. Meet the HOA president from hell. 48 years old, real estate agent, drives a white Range Rover with Lux Lady vanity plates. She's got 2 spoiled teenage sons who throw parties that shake windows 3 houses down, yet somehow their beer cans scattered across multiple lawns never warrant violation notices. Her investment banker husband is always traveling, leaving Brenda plenty of time to patrol the neighborhood like a designer-clad dictator. The targeting began my very first week. She claimed my work truck violated commercial vehicle restrictions because it wasn't aesthetically compatible with neighborhood character. When I asked to see the rule, she produced a binder thick enough to stop a bullet, stuffed with bylaws that seemed to multiply like rabbits. I parked in my garage. She complained about electrical supplies visible through the window. I hung a curtain. Then came the violation notices. Lawn 1 inch too tall, $50 daily fine. Garbage bins visible 30 minutes past pickup, $50 daily fine. Unauthorized outdoor storage because I left a rake against my house, $50 daily fine. Each notice arrived on expensive cream-colored paper that felt far too official, delivered by Brenda herself in designer heels that click-clacked across my driveway like a countdown timer. Her overpowering perfume, a sickly sweet floral nightmare, lingered long after she left, like a predator marking territory. I'd sip my morning coffee while reading her complaints, the bitterness matching the resentment building inside me. But the fence was her declaration of war. She claimed my 6-foot 2-inch barrier violated the HOA's 6-foot maximum and encroached 2 inches into a mysterious, common area that didn't exist in my property deed. She even hired a surveyor to hunt for violations after I ignored her friendly suggestion to cut my fence down. "This fence destroys property values and creates a hostile living environment," she announced at my first HOA hearing, conveniently held in her living room instead of the community center. Store-bought cookies on paper plates filled the silence as the board, her sister-in-law Janet, and 2 elderly neighbors, clearly terrified of Brenda, nodded along like bobbleheads. When I presented evidence that 3 other properties had fences of the exact same height, Brenda dismissed it as technical mumbo-jumbo. When I pointed out the bylaws required 30 days notice for violations, not her arbitrary 72 hours, she raised my fines to $300 a day for wasting the board's time. That's when I realized Brenda had made a crucial mistake. She assumed I was just another grieving widower she could bully into submission. But Sarah hadn't just left me heartbroken. She left me with nothing left to lose. And sometimes the most dangerous opponent is someone who's already lost everything that mattered. The war for my memorial garden was about to begin. Brenda's next move came with all the subtlety of a sledgehammer to a snow globe. She showed up at my door the following Tuesday with a manila folder thick enough to choke a horse, flanked by a nervous-looking man in a cheap suit clutching a surveyor's tripod like a security blanket. "Mr. Delua," she sneered, deliberately mangling my French surname. "This is Brad Hutchkins from Precision Property Surveys. We're here to document your multiple HOA violations before pursuing legal remedies." Brad's aftershave mixed with Brenda's perfume into a toxic cloud that made my eyes water. As they prowled my property, his tape measure snapped every few feet while Brenda dictated notes into her phone like she was recording a crime scene. Fence height, 6'2" and 1/4 inches. Maximum allowable, 6 feet. Violation confirmed. His voice cracked like a teenager asking for a prom date. The poor guy was clearly being paid by the hour to legitimize Brenda's vendetta. But Brenda made another mistake. She forgot about her own glass house. While she and Brad documented every inch of my property, I took a casual walk with my phone camera. Something Sarah used to tell me echoed in my mind. "Marcus, bullies always assume their victims won't fight back. That's usually their biggest mistake." Turns out Brenda's own backyard was a goldmine of violations. Her decorative mailbox stood 7 feet tall, clearly above the 6-foot limit she was weaponizing against me. Her deck extension jutted 18 inches past the original permit. And those commercial-grade landscape lights blazing across her rose garden? Definitely not on the approved fixtures list. The real revelation came during my lunch break at the courthouse. The musty air of old filing cabinets and the squeak of microfiche machines became my soundtrack as I uncovered something that would change everything. Pine Ridge Estates' architectural guidelines had never been properly filed with Jefferson County. Years ago, during my apprenticeship, an old-timer told me, "Always verify the foundation before you build the house." That advice was about to prove invaluable. When Brenda's 72-hour ultimatum arrived via certified mail, demanding immediate fence removal or $200 daily fines, I was ready. I invoked Article 7 of the bylaws, requesting an emergency board meeting within 10 business days. Predictably, Brenda scheduled it for 2 p.m. on a Thursday, during working hours, at her house again. The board consisted of Brenda, Janet, Dr. Hoffman, a retired cardiologist who kept nodding off, and sweet old Mrs. Hannah, who just wanted peace. Brenda served store-bought oatmeal cookies under a crystal chandelier that probably cost more than my truck. Her handwritten agenda, scrawled on the back of a Starbucks receipt, said everything about her professionalism. "Marcus has repeatedly violated community standards," she began, consulting her iPhone like she was giving a closing argument. "His fence destroys sight lines, reduces property values, and creates discord in our peaceful community." I pulled out my own folder, not as thick as hers, but infinitely more dangerous. "Before we discuss my fence," I said, "perhaps the board should review these photographs, violations from your own property, Brenda. Starting with your 7-foot mailbox." The room froze. Janet's pen stopped mid-stroke. Dr. Hoffman suddenly looked wide awake. Mrs. Hannah gasped, a soft "oh my" that carried the weight of the entire power shift. Brenda sniffed, voice dripping entitlement. "Those are decorative elements that enhance property values. Completely different from your fortress wall."